Hello, and welcome back to Battle Peak. We're your hosts. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Tyler. Today, we'll be taking a look at set number 7702, the Thunder Fury. This set serves as the counterpart to the Grand Titan, and is the last of the $15 sets from this year.
Let's take a look at the Red Devastator piloting this battle machine. The red marbling is the best looking out of all three types, so it makes sense that this is the one we see the most throughout the theme.
This variant can be found in a further 2 sets in the second year. 3 if you want to count the unreleased polybag that was slated to include this minifigure. The Thunder Fury feels like the biggest of the $15 sets. It has a sense of presence that only the Grand Titan competes with, which isn't a coincidence. The parallels between the robot and human mechs go beyond the flight that the Fire Vulture and Stealth Hunter share.
All of the others are battle machines. This one is a war machine. It has a hyper-angular design that evokes stealth bombers, which makes it look like it's supposed to be invisible to radar, even though in setting it's not stealthy in the slightest.
The Thunder Fury has a special place in my heart. This was one of the 2 sets I had as a child, along with Uplink. However, as much as I like this set, I am very aware of its issues. The main gun lacks the articulation of the other models, and the fiber optic cable is the least secure connection out of all of them. The whole cockpit is constructed from studs not on top techniques that aren't locked down in any way, and the antennas on top seem to want to throw themselves from the model.
And the cockpit is weird. There's no roll cage and there's nowhere to put the pilot's arms. They're either stuck down on his sides or up like I want to get off Mecha 1's wild ride.
Even so, it looks awesome. The Thunder Fury is decked out in all kinds of weapons. Front and center, a Gatling gun sits directly below the pilot. This utilizes a clever technique with 4 binoculars placed on one of the most useful parts in the entire LEGO catalog. Part 4733, this snot brick has hollow studs on all 4 sides.
There's also these 4 harpoon guns that get used as an antenna array along the top of the model. They look great and add some much needed visual interest to the set. In its left arm, the machine wields a dual molded saw blade. The way it's mounted backwards certainly reduces its usability, but at least it looks cool. This part originally came from the 04 Bionicle Vaki Kira, and this is the only time it appears in any other color.
While I hate the Toa Metru, I actually kind of like the Vaki. It's like the Marie Kondo thing. This one does not spark joy. This one does spark joy. Wow, this is a wildly indefensible take, isn't it?
Looking at the right arm, you might think it's bizarre that the weapon is fixed, but it begins to make sense if you consider that it could be heavy artillery, something like the Zaku with a bazooka.
Let's cover some of the more interesting parts from this model. Part 3049B in dark red is very nearly set exclusive, only appearing in one other set, Fight for the Golden Tower, making this part theme exclusive. Even the updated part, Part 3049C, has only appeared once in dark red, the Golden Guardian, even though the part is still in use.
Another element with an interesting history is Part 30088. This spear gun was originally created for the 1997 City Sub-Theme Divers.
Yeah!
It only appears in red and yellow within the theme. Exo-Force marks the first appearance of this element in black.
We also have to make a slight revision about Part 47757. User R543 from our Discord kindly pointed out that it was in fact not made for the Exo-Force theme and instead appeared first in a set from the Power Racers sub-theme in 2003. That's a whole 3 years earlier than we initially thought. It's a printed variant of this part appearing in set 8385, Exo Stealth.
And there's another printed appearance in the 05 set Clone Scout Walker as well. We came to this conclusion after looking at the Bricklink entry for this part, and seeing that there weren't any set entries before Exo-Force, we determined it was made for this theme, which wasn't correct. Bricklink is a very powerful tool when it comes to indexing and searching for parts, but you've got to be careful when using it, now more than ever.
So, if you want to search for every appearance of a part, printed or not, all you need to do is add an asterisk after the part number. The Thunder Fury has 31 stickers total. It's covered in the same circuitry details and hazard striping that we see in the other robot machines. This set also features a large TF on one of the armor plates next to the pilot.
This set does hold a dark secret, however. There's a sticker spanning two 1x4 black tiles, making it impossible to fully disassemble the set without the removal of the sticker. There's also an additional one spanning two 2x2 bricks that make up part of the cannon.
Funnily enough, I actually kept this assembly from my childhood together by using it in a mock at the time. It's one of the few childhood mocks I still have.
Yeah, Tyler lost it before we could take pictures of it.
So that was a lie.
When Kongzu's disciple Zigong asked him for just one word to guide him through life, he responded, "Shu," or understanding others. We too must understand other LEGO mechs to fully know Exo-Force, starting with the Granite Grinder. Rock Raiders and LEGO Star Wars are both responsible for the introduction of the ratchet system this hinge brick used to support both series' iconic canopies. The Granite Grinder itself features a swivel walking play feature which allows you to pose the legs.
Well, pose may be a little generous. The best you can do is sort of shuffle the legs side to side and move the model forward, but it's leagues better than the striking venom. You're just supposed to drag it around. While Rock Raiders introduced the ratchet joints, Life on Mars actually built a mech using those parts. The Recon Mech RP is really the first example of an Exo-Force style of mech. 2 arms, each with a different weapon, 2 legs, and a cockpit to fit a minifigure.
This was also the first time that ratchet joints were used to make the legs of a mech, demonstrating that they can be used for more than just crane arms.
Don't think that Star Wars didn't pull its weight, though. The Imperial AT-ST is the only instance of a swivel walker and ratcheted legs being combined.
Why didn't they pick one or the other? The stability of the swivel walker style is compromised by the lack of rigidity in the legs, and the posability of the ratchet joints is compromised by the loose hips of the swivel walker. The next year brought the AT Aquatic Mech from Mission Deep Sea. This theme is the first time we see the Gallagher joint system integrated into a system-based set, and the last LEGO swivel walker. These parts were only used a handful of times before they were abandoned.
Robobots is the next step along our path. This set is an interesting collection of builds that deserves a deeper look, but that's for another time. The main build puts a lot of faith in those ratchet joints to keep it upright. It has 5 points of articulation in the legs alone. This set reached the limit of what the ratchet system was really capable of.
2004 saw the advent of the Knights Kingdom 2 theme, which heavily featured buildable figures. The elements created to enable this action figure design would prove to be invaluable to Exo-Force.
One of the first sets that utilizes these parts outside of that theme comes in the very same year. Arguably one of the best mechs LEGO has ever made, and again deserving of its own video. The Titan XP. This set wouldn't be possible without the parts introduced in Knights Kingdom 2, which gives this model the greatest amount of posability out of anyone so far. Seeing this set standing shoulder to shoulder with modern Ninjago sets of today, it's difficult to believe that this one is from 2004.
The Titan XP dwarfs most Exo-Force battle machines, but it's not without its flaws. It looks incredible and is a wonder for its time, but this thing can barely hold itself upright. This is the limit. No, beyond the limit of what system sets were capable of doing at the time. LEGO wouldn't revisit mechs of this scale for several years.
Finally, in 2006 we reached Exo-Force, where we see all of the lessons learned over the past decade crystallized into a whole theme of outstanding mech designs. Each of the larger sets features full articulation and unique designs.
But Exo-Force had its own lessons to teach LEGO designers. Those lessons spelled the end of this style of mech construction. LEGO doesn't really make sets at this scale anymore, at least not anywhere near this price point. They're either smaller sets with mixel joints or larger sets that generally lack knees and the greater articulation that Exo-Force has. We're just now starting to see LEGO include this level of articulation in sets again, albeit at a much higher price.
Let's get into the alt build for this one. We do get 5 pictures of the model, kinda. The last 2 pictures are of the finished model, but from different angles. The first image also starts pretty far along in the build.
This one surprised me. I had a difficult time with it at first, until I had a breakthrough. Rather than snot, the legs are attached via a friction pin. This means that the Fire Fury is one of a very select group of Exo-Force builds to have hip rotation.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it hip rotation. It's more like the turret of a tank. There isn't a torso above the hips.
I really like this one. The color scheme still works here, and I appreciate the more mechanical styling. I think this works better than the original build because it's not trying to be a man-shaped machine, it just leans full bore into the industrial aesthetic.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on this one. It looks like some kind of autonomous heavy weapons platform, which is right on theme for the robots. This build nicely parallels the alt build from the Grand Titan, but I like this one more. It looks more finished. Though they really should have thought a little more about where to put the minifigure.
Yeah, there isn't anywhere good to put the minifigure. In the official photos, he's just standing next to it like some kind of artillery officer. I suppose you could place him behind the gun, but that doesn't seem quite right either. This is also another alt build that shows up on the boxes, right here on the Sonic Phantom. Thanks for joining us for our retrospective on the Thunder Fury and our look back at how LEGO's mech designs have changed over the years.
Join us next time for Reused Battle Machine Uplink. Until then.
出会った頃とはもう違うね少しはさま